Alrighty. Well, we are going to do an outdoor podcast. That's what's happening. We're here at headquarters. It's fall. It actually got warm here last couple of days. Right now, I think it's 63 degrees, and this thing keeps falling down, so that'll be fun. We got quite a few things to talk about. We're going to be talking about the FCC ban, right? We'll also be talking about the T100, thermal drones. There's just a lot to cover. We did miss last week, I think. Last week we missed, but we're going to hop right back on here. The reason we are back outside, I should say, is the studio where we normally record. That's in my shop. We're building some walls in there, and so that's why we're over here. So what's new, Kevin? A lot's been happening last week.
First thing we got to talk about is the drone deer season.
Yeah.
Full in force. Like this last 7 day really kicked off.
Yeah. How many leads we generate just in the last 7 days? Isn't it like 800 some?
800 some, yeah. So get this. So if anybody wonders if our map is driving traffic to our pilots, then in the last 7 days alone, we've generated over almost 900 leads for about 350 pilots.
Oh,
that's in a 7 day period.
Dude, we're going to blow the 24 season out of the water.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think we're on track to do 200, almost between a 3 and 4x. So one of the concerns people have is, should I get on the map, or is there going to be more pilots than there are hunters? And we've been saying since the start that hunters' awareness is growing at the same pace, or needs to grow at the same pace as what pilots offering the service. And we're seeing it play out in front of us where the amount of leads most pilots get, it's going to be greater than it was last year, with about double as many pilots on the map.
But we also have to be honest, like in our area here, literally in our area, there's probably 20-some people.
Yeah.
So in order for us all to get leads, we're driving out of the area to do recoveries. And that's just going to become a thing.
It is. There's these pockets of hunting, also these pockets of hunters. And right now our map is sorting primarily via distance.
Yeah, via distance, meaning if somebody gets on the Drone Deer Recovery website and looks for a pilot, you put in your zip code, is going to try to pull from the closest pilots.
The list on the left side of the screen will be in order of who is the closest.
Yeah.
So closest at the top and then furthest away down below.
Yeah. And just this week, we implemented it to be easier to leave reviews. So
number one request by pilots is I've done so many jobs, but the platform doesn't show the jobs that we've done. You know, I've done way more jobs, but I haven't gotten any reviews.
Yeah.
So now, effective since last weekend or start of this week, pilots can text our system automated after they completed a job while they're standing with the hunter.
Yeah.
And the hunter's phone dings, and all the hunter has to do is reply with a 1 to 5 to leave a review.
Dude, it's so easy. When we were building it, I was like, oh, this is going to be a little complicated back and forth. So easy. And it's all through text message. Makes it really, really nice.
Yeah, there's no app, and I think this is key. There's no app required on either side.
Yeah.
When you want to do a recovery, you don't want to say, you just want to find the deer.
Yeah.
You don't want to go in there and say, did you use a crossbow or a longbow, or where did you hit him? You just want somebody to help you find the deer.
Yeah. Yeah, an easy way to find a pilot, and that's what we're building on the Drone Deer Recovery website, is just an easy way for you to find a pilot if you're a hunter, and also if you're a pilot, an easy way to get your name out there in front of those people, because we're driving traffic to the website. I mean, just boatloads of people are going to DroneDeerRecovery.com.
And it's actually to the point where the product has evolved, and it's so much better than even the way that we explain it on the website, because we're improving it in real time over the last 3 weeks, that we really are doing ourselves a disservice by not better explaining it. So we got to go make some videos and explain how easy and how good the process is, and show people how many people are getting hired this season.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I should make a video and just show that on a reel or something. Yeah, because some people don't think it works. I mean, the only reason it wouldn't work is if you have a ton of pilots in your area and you aren't the closest one. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason you wouldn't be getting text messages.
Yep. And more and more you'll see less and less pilots with no reviews, because we've now fixed what was pretty much a broken system on requesting reviews. There was this complicated thing.
Yeah, it's just crazy to look at where Drone Deer Recovery is in only 4 seasons. This is season 4 for Drone Deer Recovery. How it went from me operating out of my Ford Focus, going to do this as a little pastime because I was doing, tree climbing, to literally people are making $50,000 or more just finding people's deer. Like, I know guys that came here and bought an M4T, started with a Matrice 30T, and they added 2 drones or 3 drones to their fleet, hired guys to fly their drones to look for deer. That's insane.
That is insane.
So just to look at it from that standpoint is, yes, you guys watch us on YouTube or you listen to us on our podcast, and it's like, oh, I can't beat that. But it's like, dude, there are people making a change in their life because they bought the equipment and they're out there hustling.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
How many recoveries did you do in the first season?
I don't know exactly, but it was between 110 and 120 recoveries.
110 and 120 recoveries in a season.
Yes.
Right. So that's what, like, when I looked at the numbers of what we've done in the last 7 days, it just blew my mind because if we're doing 900 in a 7-day period.
Yeah. But that's nationwide.
That's nationwide.
Yeah. So my recoveries would have just been in Ohio. And I mean, I did get requests to, do recoveries in Iowa, and you name the state, I got requests, but I never did them.
And your time was the limit, right?
Yeah, that and distance. And people weren't willing to pay me, to drive a 10-hour drive to go try to find a deer.
But to me, it's so cool to see the impact that we've wanted to have on helping entrepreneurs actually start. Yep. And we had a decision in that first and second season. Are we going to try to build our own network, our own employees, or are we going to try to build a system? Because we sell enough equipment that we can invest back into the system that then these entrepreneurs can use.
Yeah.
And I am so happy that we went the route that we did of actually giving the tools to help people be successful.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you don't have to work hard. It doesn't mean, right? You should still be advertising on Facebook and in Facebook groups. Still do that stuff.
Yeah.
But I just love the impact we're having on the deer recovery industry, this new emerging industry. Yep. It's so fun to see that. Actually, it's a big impact to the industry.
It's shocking, and people say this in, they say it in the comments on YouTube, but it's shocking how many deer get wounded.
Yeah.
To think that the people can have a business looking for people's deer.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy because it's not just us. Like, if there's, let's say there's 200 plus on our website, and let's say they do average 25 recoveries each. I mean, that starts to become a huge number of deer that are getting wounded. And not that it wasn't happening in the past. You didn't really know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But pretty crazy.
What else is happening?
The T100, right? There's big talk about the T100 getting launched. We haven't really done a bunch of launch videos on YouTube yet, but I'm telling you what I'm seeing right off the rip. I think it's going to be super efficient in big fields.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really, really big drone. Will it be for every single application? Probably not. But I do say it can still be used for every operation. You just aren't going to be as efficient with the T100 in small 5, 10, 25 acre pieces like you would if you put a T100 in, a 200 acre field or a 100 acre field for that much.
So what people expect with a DJI flagship release like the T100 is they expect a best in class drone.
Yeah.
In your opinion, is that what they get with the T100?
Yeah, absolutely. Flies fast, carries a lot, smooth on the sticks. It's everything that I thought it would be and a little bit more. Just one thing that I'm really not happy with, and it's the terrain following and the type of hills that we're in. It feels like it flies so fast that the computer doesn't take enough time or doesn't have enough time to adjust quickly enough to push the drone up if there's a hill coming.
Yeah.
So for me, it sucks. That's at max flight speed. You're looking at 45 miles an hour that it can fly. Now, if you slow it down, then it doesn't have a problem. So the only complaint I have so far with the little bit of flight hours I have is...
So that's 45 miles an hour?
45 miles per hour.
How does that compare to what was the T50?
22 miles an hour.
22. So at double the speed...
Yep.
It doesn't terrain follow. I mean, it has a hard time terrain following in the hilly terrain we have here.
In the hilly terrain, yeah.
And that's easily solved by just lowering the speed.
Lowering the speed and giving it a higher altitude above the crop. DJI wants you to be 15 feet above the crop if you're at max flight speed. And it is giving out a really good swath. The swath on this thing looks incredible. I mean, it absolutely looks incredible. There's some guys in Australia that I was watching that did some, sunset type spraying, low winds, and the sun was shining through the spray swath. It just looked beautiful. And that's what we've seen just a little bit again that we've been flying it is I think that the swath will be like nothing else we've ever seen.
Wow.
It is wider. The swath is wider. According to the DJI data, they're 2-gallon work, they're saying that the swath is going to be 42 feet. Will I fly at 42 feet swath? Probably not. I just want to be a little cautious, and I'd like to do our own independent testing. We do that, and DJI's testing is very strict. I mean, they have very strict testing to come up with their data. They're not just going to go out there and blow smoke. Mm-hmm. If it's not even close to 40 feet, then why would they ever say 40 feet? So I do think that DJI's data is going to be really accurate to what the swath is.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how in big fields, it's the first drone that competes with an airplane. Is that true? As far as
not one drone, one airplane.
2 drones off of one trailer. You're in the ballpark, right? You're in the ballpark.
Gosh, I think I'm closer than ever before. Yep, closer than ever before. Because if you look at what we did with the T60X in Kentucky, we had really nice fields down there. Working our ass off, though. We did, in the one day, it was 1,500 acres. But that's a lot of hard work. Yeah. Now, I do think with this new drone, the bigger payload, the flying faster, it's going to get really close to, you should be able to average, in nice fields, average 1,000 acres a day without, having to break your back.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, we're ready for it.
Yeah, and the ecosystem that DJI has built, they built it in a way that's going to allow you to scale your operations, right? If you have multiple teams out there running DJI drones, they've just made it so nice from the app to building boundaries to collecting your data and seeing the as-applieds. They just have built the whole ecosystem, and so if guys are running big fleets, this system is going to be the nicest system out there for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
And I am telling you, people that are not in our type of terrain here in Ohio, we are in I would call us mid to northeast corner of Ohio, and yeah, the fields here are not that big. Now, if you go slightly west, you start getting out toward Mansfield, Ohio, further west than that, Findlay. Those fields are huge compared to here. You are going to crush acres. I mean, I'm telling you, I can't wait to get into those types of fields and see what we can get done. I just see no problem, covering 1,000 acres in a day. I just don't see an issue with it.
Before, if you had to work hard to do that, now it'll be...
Yeah, it'll just...
Not that hard.
Yeah, it'll just do it easily.
Yeah, because when we went out, right, we flew the T60, our benchmark was the T50. And it's a little bit bigger, it's some faster, but we were amazed at how much more we were able to cover.
So the T50, we were busting it to go over that 700 mark. We were really busting it. I was saying at the time you can still get close to that 1,000, and you could if everything was going good. T60X, it was much easier to reach that 700, 800 acre mark. I just think this is just another level of getting there and being easier.
One of the things that we were pleasantly surprised with the T60 is that it also unlocked night spraying in a whole new way that we didn't even realize until we were out there flying.
Yep, night spraying because of the low light camera that they allowed. I was just able to be way more confident in flying at night and seeing power lines with the black and white image that they give you when you're operating at night. And the T100 is going to do the same. It'll have the same feature where low light, the camera, turns from RGB to that black and white image. We just were able to pick up those power lines nicer, and I was comfortable. I was 100% comfortable spraying at night. I preferred it.
Yeah.
I literally preferred it because it was not nearly as hot running at night.
Yeah.
Now, it was a challenge for some guys to hang with a guy that stays up through the night, but that's just a little bit of time you get used to it.
Yeah. When we first flew the T100 in China, I remember one of my first impressions when I saw the remote was It's so cool how that flight path shows you exactly what the drone's going to do.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing with the T100 that I've noticed is situational awareness. That's what that's how I'm explaining it, because I look at it from a instrument-rated pilot. I'm an instrument-rated pilot where I have all these screens that I can watch and double-check, that I'm going at the climb speed that I'm supposed to, forward airspeed, looking at the GPS coordinates. Like, it's giving me all this data to be as situational aware as I can when I'm flying in the clouds. When I'm flying in the clouds, I have no clue, am I, feeling-wise, I don't know, am I in a bank, am I descending, whatever, but you lay all these instruments out there to make you aware of what you're doing, because you might think, I can tell when the plane is banking. Yeah, you can if you can see out the window, but there is a time when you are in a cloud and the plane is banking for so long that your equilibrium literally doesn't even know that you're in a bank. So that's what I'm trying to say, is the situational awareness on the DJI drone. They literally took it up like 3 steps from the T50. Now you have 360 vision sensors. You can look all around your aircraft at any time. Look behind it, look to the side, look down, look forward. At any point in time, you can do that. Situational awareness on the vision sensors, the radar 360. You have 360 radar because the radar sits up higher now, shoots over top of the drone. There's no tank in the way. Then you got a rear radar, a front radar as well. You got the LiDAR built in there. And then on your screen itself, right, you have AI. It'll know if there's a person standing in front of the drone, and it'll be like, whoa, you might not want to take off. Or if you're coming back to land and there's a truck in the way, it'll give you a little triangle saying, hey, there's a truck here. Or power lines, the same thing. It will sense the power line and it'll show you a red line where the line is.
That's amazing.
So the situational awareness it's just incredible what they've done.
So one of the challenges people are going to have with flying these, is the charging system, right? We know what's happened in other countries, other continents. That's probably... The bigger we go with drones, that is kind of a sticking point with, it's so hard to charge these fast enough.
You're talking supercharged.
Yeah, so you can keep flying reusing the same batteries.
That's where DJI, when they designed the system, they designed the 3-phase generator that goes with it to supercharge these batteries at the speed that they need to be charged when you're out there flying. Now, I will say, DJI's already warned us or told us that there's like these battery overheating things that they've been made aware of. It's because they're carrying a bigger load, and so you got to get into that field and you got to start getting that weight off of it. So if guys are going to get a hold of me, hey, what's with the battery overheating is? I don't know. I've not been in the situation yet. I've been made aware that it could happen, but it's not that it's to the point where the drone is shutting off and going down. Only time will tell how the batteries, keep up with 2-gallon work. But according to DJI, they have literally built and designed this whole drone around 2 to 3 gallon acre work. They're pretty convinced that 3 batteries with the 14,000 generator supercharging run all day.
If I live, let's say, in Northeast Ohio, right, most of it's hills, how would I compare between buying a T100 that I may never use at full capacity to maybe waiting 6 months to buy the T70 if it becomes available?
Yeah, that's going to be hard to tell you what to do. You could probably continue running with the T50 if you want to wait for the T70. But myself, right, I'm a drone geek. I like drones. I want to get the latest and greatest model. I think that the T100 is going to be safer, that it will sense power lines better, so maybe I won't crash as much if your T50 is smacking power lines. But, the T50 is a solid drone. If you'd ask me, it depends if you need a tax write-off. If you need a tax write-off and you have an opportunity of potentially needing to do bigger fields, I'd still go to the T100.
But am I right that most of what I'm comparing, if I know I'll never use the full capacity of the T100, most of what I'm comparing is just a price difference, because the situational awareness, the guts, the AI, the software, it'll all be comparable.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm paying with the T100, I'm paying for something I may never use. With the T70, it will be slightly cheaper, but I'm not getting a better product for what I needed. Is that fair?
Yeah, probably.
Because if I only fill my tank to 15 gallons or whatever the T70 I would fill it to, then the battery runoff and all that stuff will be comparable.
Yep, that's true. Now, it depends what else you want to get into. Are you going to do any heavy lifting stuff in the off season where you're doing deer pack outs or lifting AC units on top of buildings or something like that? That's in the future. That's coming with this Part 108 proposal. Yeah, it depends what
you want. The T100 will be better for that than the T70, right?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it'll lift more. Yep. Yeah, plus they built it kind of as a lifting drone as well. So you get the lifting chassis, just snap off those 4 buckles, move it over, and now you're lifting.
I spoke to somebody, a gentleman who was wanting to fly over an orchard to displace the air to prevent frost or whatever.
Yep.
And he wanted to do that with a T100 with the lift system. And when you connect the lift system to the T100, it doesn't allow you to fly in orchard mode. So it doesn't allow you to fly at 30 foot, back and forth. You have to, it almost it forces you to set waypoints, point to point flying.
Yeah.
And so he was having to manually create those lines to go back and forth.
Okay.
Because the software detects.
It's interesting you know this because I don't know any of it because we don't have our lift system yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. But I wonder why. Oh, he wanted the lift system to run 2 batteries.
Yeah. He wanted 2 batteries, double the flight time.
Yeah. That's interesting.
It's almost like you can do it, but obviously the lift system isn't meant for that.
Yeah, to try to keep frost from happening. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking to an orchard guy here as well about frost, and it's kind of a big deal. I never knew how frost can affect a crop like that. But dude, he spent I think he spent $80,000 on this helicopter propeller thing that's driven by a 457 Chevy motor or something. I think it's a 457, but
does that cover a large area?
It does. It does cover probably about 10 acres. It spins, so it slowly spins. So it's basically blowing like a fan. It works, but it can't get all of his orchard. So he was wanting to maybe put a drone over the area that it can't reach. I don't know. It seems a little crazy. You'd have to have somebody out there all night just swapping batteries, right?
Yeah.
It's going out, flying for 8, 9, 10 minutes, coming back, swapping batteries and doing it again.
That does seem just to displace air.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's losing $100,000-$200,000, then it might be worth it.
Yeah, and if it's only a week.
Yeah, and it's like you don't know when the frost might hit, but it's just a small window in that early spring when when the frost might hit. I don't know. I did tell him next spring, if he wants to try to use it, let me know, and I'd love to come out and do it. I don't know how many nights I'll be out there chasing frost off.
Yeah. But, that seems a lot less interesting than finding deer.
Oh, yeah. Dude, finding deer.
You loving it?
I just, I literally just did one right down the road last night, literally right behind our church. Found them in probably 5 to 7 minutes. It's just so much fun. Although I feel like my wife is getting tired of it more and more every year because I enjoy it and I get it from her standpoint. It's like, I get home from work, right? We're at work now, and then I get home, say 5:30, and then at 6 o'clock I get a call. Hey, can you find a deer? And then I'm like, oh, do you care if I go look for another deer? And it's just, I'm gone a lot.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm gone a lot. But
the next 2 weeks are going to be peak, right?
Yep. Should be peak. But I've already not gone out. Like last night, I did 1. I could have done, 2 if I wanted to. The night before, I didn't go out. I could have gone out, but I sent a couple of the other guys. So trying to do it less and less, but doing enough to still create content, still showing people how they could do the same thing I'm doing and the equipment. But
is this your go-to? M4TD?
Yeah, so Austin was flying the 4TD for a week or 2. I was flying the 4T. I just flew that last night, and I think it's official. I like the 4TD better than the 4T.
You're ready to make an official...
Yeah.
Mike's opinion, he prefers the 4TD.
Yeah, I don't know, it feels more beefy. It just feels more professional when I come out there with it. It's slightly faster. Not to the point where most people will recognize it, but I like that it flies slightly longer than a 4T does on a battery. It flies faster. It just feels heavier, feels beefier. Yeah, but it's more money, isn't it? Like $3,000 or $4,000 more. But for me, it's worth it.
Have you used the waterproof feature or the rainproof?
Oh, yeah. I've been flying the 4TD, not in videos. Yeah, not in videos yet in rain, but I've flown this thing in a lot of rain. And yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's what it was built for. It was built to fly in rain. It's IP55 rated.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it'll be my go-to. People will probably not like that because it's more money, but you don't have to fly what I fly. If you don't have the money, then don't buy it. The 4T is still a solid machine.
And coming up from the M30T, the 4T, if you've come from M30T, what will you feel about with the 4T?
Okay, so everybody that switches doesn't like the feel of a 4T to start with because it's slower.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest complaint, is it's slower and the light is not quite as bright. And so instead of seeing a deer at 250 to 300 feet with the 30T, this one, you're going to have to come down to that 200 to 150 feet with the light, but the connectivity between the drone and the controller is better than the 30T. Mm-hmm. So there's some handoffs. The 30T is a really good drone, but it's loud, but you can fly higher. It flies faster than a 4T, so that's, those are some good things. It flies in rain, but the 4T is quieter, so you can fly lower if you need to.
I like the 4T. You just have the one box. You don't have two.
Yeah.
The battery charging was its own station.
Yeah. But again, I mean, we're nitpicking because it really wasn't that big of a deal. Yes, there are some changes. If I wouldn't have access to 4Ts or 4CDs, I'd still be flying the 30T. Mm-hmm. It's a good drone. I mean, dude, it's done me well. But this is the latest and greatest, the 4TD and the 4T. And why wouldn't I upgrade? If I have the finances to do it, I'm upgrading.
Are there any AI features in this drone that you appreciate?
Not that I use. I mean, it is for some people, right? If you're a security company and you need to count cars or you need to count people, it does have those features in there. But for us personally at Drone Deer Recovery, we don't really use it. Now we are working, or we were working with DJI to try to help it recognize deer. But we have to upload like 10,000 photos of deer just to start training the AI system. I don't think it's going to be an actual helpful tool. It will be maybe situational awareness to help you. That could be a deer you should look. But no, it's AI features not that big of a difference. Now, there are some things where it has cruise control. So if I start flying forward, I can hit cruise control and it'll just keep going. Don't really use it that much because all drone deer recovery stuff is usually manual flying. Now, I will say something that the 4T and the 4TD have that the 30T doesn't is it's actually a really, really good mapping drone as well. So if you want to do orthomosaic stitching, making maps of size, you have it in one package, where the 30T didn't have that because the 30T didn't have manual shutter. And what that is basically the drone's flying forward and it's snapping a picture every second, but as it's flying forward, if it doesn't have manual shutter, the edges of those photos will be blurred, and if you have blurred photos, then the software that's stitching it together will have a harder time stitching it together. So the mapping capabilities with the 4T and the 4TD are really nice. And so now you're getting two drones in one. You have a mapping drone and you have a thermal drone that makes it really nice.
Yeah, and I think the next couple of years we'll see more about mapping.
I do believe that's true. Yep.
Probably most people, right? A couple of years ago, they didn't realize you can use a thermal drone to find a deer carcass. In the same way that today, a lot of landowners don't realize that you could have on your map a 4 times a year updated high resolution.
Yeah.
What do you think that'll be worth to a landowner, a rancher?
I think each person will have their own what they think it's good. It'll be for a niche, a niche audience. But there's definitely going to be people that want it. I had a guy call me yesterday. He bought a 4T and he didn't know about this feature, and he thought he's going to just take his drone to high altitude and snap one photo so he can see his whole farm and then go off of that. And I was like, no, just make an orthomosaic, stitch it all together, move it around just like you're used to, zoom in and see clarity down to deer trails if you want to. That guy is going to find that very valuable, that he could have that on his phone.
I wonder, especially as more and more hobbyists buy a drone for their own land, their own recoveries. Once a lot of them realize how easy it is to do this, and if there's even an easier way, I could see them doing it for their own land, for their buddy's land.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yep, yeah. Mapping will be a really big thing in the future once we can show them how easy it is.
It's one of the few industries right now that the FAA isn't, with its current rule set, isn't kind of strangling. All the other funny ones, right? Like heavy lift, transport, power washing, all of that stuff is kind of like, well, if you want to do it,
there's so many
hard
rules.
To get permission.
Yep.
But
mapping is really easy. I do think, I haven't dabbled in it much, but LiDAR will be a bigger and bigger thing. Doing it for counties, doing it for townships and that type of stuff, LiDAR mapping. But I'm not going to get into it because I truly don't know that much about it. Maybe in the future we'll look into it. But the bigger question is, will you be able to get drones, right? Drones that are able to do these things.
2026 going to be an interesting year.
It will be an interesting year. There's a lot of talk, and for somebody that's watching or listening that isn't aware, we should probably tell them like what we're talking about. Just the proposal. Just a brief once over. We've made whole videos about the banned DJI thing, and now we're dealing with an FCC thing as well.
Yeah. So the brief history is there's been at least 2 or 3 concerted efforts to add DJI to the covered list, which means that they are prohibited from getting new licenses to bring new product into the country. All those have failed, and so last year they passed into the national defense funding for 2025. They passed into that large bill that if in 1 year a committee does not do a security review of DJI, by default, they will get added to the covered list.
Yeah.
And then
it was such a good way to write that. Like, if I'm a politician, like, dude, hats off to that doggone person. Like, oh my gosh. Like, put it in a way that's not saying they're illegal. Like, just put it in there that that the U.S. government probably won't ever get this inspection done. And then just roll it right into being on the list. We've never given them a fair shot. I just wrote it in a way that I knew that government never gets something done in time.
And we'll not specifically name a committee that exists. We'll just say a national security committee, which nobody knows who and what that is, needs to be formed. And the last, when it first was thrown out of both the House and Congress or whatever, it was because of first responders primarily that made a lot of noise. They said this is a vital tool and people will die and there's going to be all these economic and other downwind effects of it. Got thrown out because it's very unpopular to pass that bill. Right? Who wants to pass that? But if you pass a bill that says, well, we'll do a national security threat, and if we don't, then they'll get added to the covered list. So that's where we're at, and the deadline is December 23rd. So at this point, it looks extremely unlikely that
anybody will get the inspection done in literally a month.
Especially when the government isn't shut down for the last 35 days.
Jeez. Did we break a record now? Like,
it's the longest ever now.
Oh, longest, is it? Hats off to you, Trump. Doggone it. Jeez. Record breaker. Is this thing still recording? Yeah, it's recording.
So the next thing that's going to happen is going to be the FCC in end of October. They voted to give themselves more power.
Yeah, why? I mean, that sounds like a great idea. Government needs more power. Jeez.
It wasn't a different branch proposed it. It's more like, should we give ourselves more power? And then unanimously, let's do it. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. So
I think we should give ourselves more power.
We
should just vote on it now.
I think too, and I'd vote on a raise as well.
Yeah. Well, let's do that. Like, more power. Jeez. Yeah, okay, so what will this do now? So the FCC has more power.
Yeah, so they have now power to revoke authorizations they've granted in the past. Before, it was just a way of like, we won't let these quote-unquote bad companies bring new product in. Well, now the FCC has at their own discretion the power to revoke past authorizations they've done.
So if they're on a covered list, that it looks like that DJI could be on, then the FCC has the power to be like, okay, any M4TD, any T100, we're revoking it. What's that going to do for the end user?
Well, they made it very clear that the end user can continue to operate it legally.
Oh, doggone it. So I should be buying more drones.
You should probably buy more drones.
Actually, why can't I buy a bunch of drones and then just, if it's illegal to sell them, then I just sell them personally?
Yeah. I think that is a gray market that will emerge. Right? It's like the eBay, it's the But it will make it hard for companies like us to import it at scale, right? But there's going to be a guy on eBay that will sell these.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah. So that being said, how you guys heard that it's laid out, if you were asking me what you should do, if you should buy a DJI drone or not because of this fear of it getting revoked, I personally am buying more DJI drones myself because it is still going to be the best drone and best system for at least, in my opinion, 3 to 5, maybe 7 years, because we're that far behind the technology of what DJI has built into their drones. If you're Skydio, and you probably don't listen to this or watch this, get your asses moving and make a good drone, because if you actually would make a good drone, then we would buy your drone that is built in the States. But you have been building drones for 5 years and you still haven't built a good drone. And so that's why I'm telling you guys, if you want a good drone, still buy the DJI system, because you're going to be further ahead than buying a crappy drone that is on the market currently that's built in America, because in 3 to 5 years, once those, once production ramps up and the technology catches up, then will you have a drone that this is right next to me, this, Matrice M4TD. I just don't see it, happening in 6 months or happening in a year or happening in 2 years. There's just too much technology built into it.
Well, and the biggest, like the camera system is the biggest difference right now. Because we've seen other drones, others made in China, Korea, India, but in the thermal drone system, it is shocking how far the next best is to DJI.
Yes, yep.
So get this, the next best will be a fraction as good, right?
Yep.
When you look at the visual quality, even an Alltel's been going for a long time. They're a big company, but you pick up the comparable Alltel drone versus an M4T, the picture is bad.
Yeah. The thermal isn't hideous. It's the RGB camera.
Yeah.
That is...
in low light especially.
Yeah, low light, zoom capabilities to give you a clear image so you can make an informed decision of whatever you're looking at.
Yeah.
That is the biggest fault.
And it'll be more expensive.
100%.
Yeah. It's worse and it's more expensive. And that is really tough for the American consumer to buy.
Hey, if they turn on the printing machine, like the money machine, in the States, then maybe it'll be easier for you to pay for this type of drone, the M4T to the left of me. I think you're going to end up paying just for the aircraft, something that's built in the States, probably no less than $18,000. That would be, get close to this. This unit here you can buy for just the airframe, the 4TD. Do you know exactly? I think it's like $10,000.
It's less than 10, yeah.
I think you'll almost pay double. Almost pay double.
For worse quality.
Yeah.
And then what do you see on the agricultural side? Is there closer competitors, or is there...
Yeah. So I think it's the agricultural side is a little bit easier to build because it's more about the pumps and the spray system and the batteries and that type of stuff is easier. It's the cameras that people struggle.
And the technology, right, of how it all works together. Like, nobody is copying the whole system and how easy it is in the interface.
They're not building the whole ecosystem like DJI has built, like from the app to the building the boundaries to stitching your photos together if you want to do mapping, that type of stuff, because that takes a lot of time to build and a lot of money. And DJI just has the money. They've been building these drones for probably over 15 years, and they just have the funds to keep building their ecosystem. So I think that there will be drones that emerge that can spray fields. I don't think there's going to be drones that have the ecosystem to be able to run large teams like DJI gives you the option to. So if there are guys that are wanting to go out there and be a big competitor in the custom application business, DJI is still going to be your drone to go to because you can run those teams efficiently through their system.
And for that guy, the custom applicator, right, its efficiency is so important. Like, it's how you make money.
Yeah.
So having a drone that is good, doesn't crash, and is fast and has a big payload, like that whole system, it becomes increasingly important versus the hobbyist or something.
Yeah.
So what would you say to that guy, the custom applicator who's looking at a DJI drone, which nobody knows what'll happen to the cover list or the FCC revocations,
I can tell you I'm buying more, because if I have a system that's more efficient and flies without having issues, and I can run a team from my computer, I'm going to buy more, because I will get more done than the competitor will. And so I will be able to, I don't want to do this, but I will be able to charge less per acre and still get more acres covered and make more than you with a competitor's drone. It's just the way it is, because the efficiency is there, because the whole ecosystem works and the drone works when it should. Yeah, I will be very competitive. Yep. And I will cover acres where, you might have a drone that's having issues and you can't get the thing to fly or whatever because, this software problem, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
We just, going from the T40 to the T50 was a big change with the DJI drones. Like, we seen a lot more reliability out of the T50 than we did to the T40. But we seen a huge increase in the T60X. Now, that's not say a DJI drone, but it operates very similar to a DJI drone, and we've seen a huge improvement from connectivity to being able to fly faster.
Yep.
We were able to cover a lot more acres because it was more efficient. We're talking about the same thing.
Okay, that's good, because when you just look at a spec sheet, right? It's really different than seeing a true and try, and no matter what drone system that's in its infancy, right, year 1, year 2, year 3, like DJI has gone through that 5 years ago.
Yep.
And not to throw shade, because our American industry, like, we need to go through that phase.
Yep.
But when you're making a business decision about what equipment you're going to build your business on, then that is something like to factor in as well.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm looking at the T100s now, that they're so big, they're so fast, they're going to get a lot of acres done. And I think this is a model that will be good for many years to come. Not like the T30 drone or the T10 DJI, where it was like the next model was that much better. I think this model, if you take care of it and you service it how you should, the T100 might be that drone that you keep in your fleet and you keep hammering it on it for 3 to 5 years.
Especially seeing how people do that to T50s.
Yeah.
Right? And it's almost like with the last iPhone release, I literally have no desire to go buy it, even if I could afford it.
Yeah.
Like, it's the increases, it doesn't do anything. I don't need a, 0.5 millimeter thinner and 17% more battery. I don't care.
Yep.
And that's almost where the T100 is, where any other improvements you might be thankful for, but the big improvements we've had in the last 2 generations, they're huge improvements.
Yep. I agree.
It's going to be fun to see somebody who flew a T50 and then they jump to a T100.
Oh my gosh, it's going to shock them.
It's going to be shocking.
It will literally be shocking.
Yeah.
It's like Landon, camera guy, when you seen the swath, it was like, holy moly, like, this was way more product.
We're used to it looking good, and it's just... Yeah, me and Jay were loving it the first day we went out.
It's literally that. And we went from a T60X to a T100, so it was a jump. But if you're going from an older model, like you're saying, a T40 or a T50, and you go to the T100, you are going to love it. I seriously believe you're going to love it.
Do you have a prediction whether, for the custom applicator, a 1 T100 or a 2 T100 setup is going to be most effective?
Well, it depends on what fields you're running in. I always run 2 drones. One is I'm literally getting double the acres done in the same amount of time. If I can, if the area allows me to run 2 drones. But with the T100, things are happening much faster, like way faster.
Yeah, so you want 1 pilot per drone, right, with the T100?
Yes, preferably. But could a guy manage? Yeah.
In perfect conditions, he could do it.
Yeah, you could do it. But I want that second drone on my trailer for redundancy, right? If I am running with 1 drone and I go down and I can't get my stuff fixed for 3-4 days, I'm down.
But when I think of what we did in Kentucky, like the kinds of fields and kind of how we were working it, would it have been better or worse to have 2 drones, but as single units versus a single trailer with 2 drones on it?
It would have been better with 2, because think the efficiency goes up. Like the T60X, I think, flies 30 35 miles an hour. This is going to fly 10 miles. No, it flies 30 miles an hour. This flies 15 miles per hour faster. And it carries double the load. Yeah. We're going to get a lot more done. I mean, me and Madison, remember, we sat up on that 600-acre field. That was shocking to me. It's the first time ever in my custom application business that I got to set up on a 600-acre field.
Yeah, it was in the middle. It was field on every side.
Yeah, and I look at 2-gallon work. You know, at the very best, we were running with the T60X covering 55 acres per hour per drone. I think that the T100 on that same situation, we would have probably been pushing right close to that 70 acres per hour, maybe even slightly more.
Per drone. Yeah.
Yep. We would have smoked that field much faster, and we would have been, moving on to the next one. So if I have the money, if I have the money to invest, I'm getting the bigger drone that flies faster and carries more, even if I don't use it to full capacity every time. And that's the thing with the T60X. We weren't filling it to full capacity every time.
It still was shocking how much more effective it was than the T50.
Yep. We will be in the same boat with the T100. Now, I will say this. Do I believe that the T100 is a 26-gallon drone all the time? Nope. I do not believe that. I believe that in most situations, it is a 20 to 22-gallon drone, just like the T60X. Is it a 13.5-gallon drone? Yes, you can do 13.5 gallons, but most of the time we were doing 10-gallon loads. But we were still covering more than a T50 with 10 gallons.
Yeah.
A T50 will most likely always take 10 gallons with him, but it's not flying as fast, and it's just not getting getting it done like the T60 did with 10 gallons. And so the same way, right? The same way with the T100. Is it a 26-gallon drone? Yes, it can carry 26 gallons. It's not what I'll be running all the time, but I'm going to get a lot done at 20 gallons all the time.
Where are we going to fly? Where are we going to spray this year?
I think Kentucky will be a big one for us, and we're going to start talking about that right away. I really, really want to try to get like 50,000 acres lined up down there, and I think we could get it done.
That'd be a fun challenge this year.
Yeah, I agree. 50,000 acres. It's like we've played with this small 10, 15, 20,000 acre type stuff. I really want that challenge of 50,000 acres. And I think it can be done pretty easily, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm down for it. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So are you personally worried about the FCC banning your drones?
I think, like, for me, so I'm a details person. Like, I care about, I want to understand it. So for me, from a business perspective, and if I were a custom applicator or, a drone deer pilot, I would want to understand for myself. I'd want to dig in for myself to make sure I understand what the risk is.
But do you have a risk once you own it? I mean, you and I have more of a risk because we are buying these.
Yeah, we have a risk as a business, by importing and selling. That's our risk. Yep. But for the end user that's using a drone, that's their personal drone that they're using, none of these FCC things that are the FCC now has power to revoke, that will not affect you. People would worry about getting parts. Like if I crash my thermal drone, how do I fix it? If I crash my ag drone, will I be able to buy parts? Will I be able to buy motors? So those are the things that if it were me, I would go, when I purchase a T100, I would probably get a loadout of parts to go with it. And I think you should do that anyways, because we've seen how dumb it is that because you don't have some props and like the main things that you'll need to replace eventually anyways, that you're out of a day or two of spraying. That's dumb. Yeah. That's just poor planning. So I would probably, I don't know if I would buy an extra drone, but I would probably buy extra components just as insurance to keep myself in the air.
Yeah. We did that with the T60X in Kentucky because we had the finances. We threw an extra drone in the back of the trailer so we could pull parts off of it. We have every single part that we need if we go down. It's probably not practical to tell a young entrepreneur, buy a second drone as a backup, but I'm telling you, the boogers friggin' make money. Yeah, and if you can keep the suckers in the air and keep ripping acres, you're gonna pay it off.
It only takes a couple days, right? I don't know if even a couple days. If you're doing 1,500 acres or even 1,000 acres a day, and you're doing $12 to $15 an hour, it does not take that long for you to be out what a new drone would have cost you.
Yeah.
Because you don't have, and once you lose the opportunity to spray those acres, it probably goes away for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Like somebody else is doing it, or it's not getting sprayed. Either way, pissed off farmer.
It is just so valuable, but I get it, right? Here I sit because we have money to invest and we can buy an extra spare drone. I shouldn't expect everybody to be able to do that, but if you can hear us out, you wouldn't believe how much more money that can make you just by having what you need when you need it and stay flying. For the guys that are listening that have experienced it, they're shaking their head. Yep. Do have those extra parts on hand because you can keep covering acres, and as long as you're covering acres, you're making dollars.
Yeah.
Yep. It's that simple.
We will, during the month of July and August, we will get so many calls from people who last minute, they need overnight parts and they need them now and they need them and they need them. And we're going to do all that we can, right? We come in on Saturdays, we ship out. If you can be prepared, then do yourself a favor.
Buy extra parts, before July. But it's a season, right? A lot of spraying is happening in those months, and it almost feels like it doesn't matter how many parts that you have or that we have in stock. The rush of people needing parts at times, it's a vacuum, right? It just, I need 3 motors. Well, unfortunately, there's 15 other guys that needed 2, and so boom, there goes all your motors out the door. So yep. But we will do everything we can to have T100 parts in stock, better than we ever have.
We have them now.
Yeah.
We have them now, and we'll I think according to what it seems like is sold in the U.S. market, we'll rebuy and make sure we have enough parts.
Yeah.
And then T50, we're not forgetting about T50 and T60 either.
Yep.
Like we'll keep that fully stocked to the best that we can as well.
T50 is a solid drone, right? I was at home. I have a 20-acre farm, and sometimes I just like to spray my pasture real quick. It's just a small pasture, but I like that I can just send the drone out and get it done without having to get a backpack sprayer out or something like that. The T50 is still going to be a viable drone for those smaller farms, those farms that are a 20 to 50 acre farm, and they want something that can go out and get some stuff done. T50 is going to be able to do that for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that the T50 is dead.
Oh, yeah, no, not at all.
No. Yeah, it is a really good drone. Yeah, that's about it. It's it's one of those things that it's reality. We can blame what we want on the government for doing what they're doing, but we can also blame ourselves for not trying to manufacture and be up to speed.
And can we please all agree that American-made drones are great? Let's pivot to them, but can we do it in a way that doesn't screw over the farmer and all of these downwind industries? We can do it over the course of a few years.
Yes.
And we don't have to do it in, and that's where I feel like there's got to be some. Our federal government, if they would understand how, yes, we can pivot away from DJI.
Yep.
If it is a national security threat, we can do all this stuff, but can we please do it in such a way that we prevent new product from coming in, new models.
And hurting businesses.
Yeah, and
hurting custom applicators, hurting farmers, hurting retailers like ourselves, right? Give us time to...
And let's develop American-made alternatives. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But let's not be dumb about it.
Yeah, I agree. That's all I got.
All right. It's been great. Thanks for joining us on this outside episode of the DroneOn Show.
Outside as in sitting outside. Alrighty. That's all we got, guys. Thanks for watching and listening. Wherever you are watching or listening, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, share, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.